We're going to start. Tell me why you're an atheist.
Okay. Sorry if I waffle. If I waffle, just tell me, because I tend to waffle a lot. The reason I'm atheist is I was born into a Christian family.
I didn't ask you about your biography. Tell me why there's no God.
I feel like there's no God because there's too much evil in the world, basically.
Okay.
Too many bad stuff happens.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a very simple question, okay? If God decides to conceal himself and he purposes not to be known, can he be known?
No.
Okay. Now, how is it possible for you to know what states of affairs within the plan of God, and notice the key word plan, would be compatible with God or not?
Sorry, can you rephrase that in a different way? I didn't really understand that.
If there are certain unpleasantries within human history that you call evil, right? And you say, this would be inconsistent. It would be, God could not logically coexist. How would you know what states of affairs would be compatible, not simply with God's character, but with his plan of creation?
I wouldn't.
Good, you just screwed yourself. So therefore, you no longer have the ability, just by what you just conceded to say that any state of affairs, including death, suffering, disease, are incompatible with God.
By incompatible, what do you mean?
Do you understand how what you just conceded to annihilates your opening position? That there are states of affairs that are incompatible with God. In other words, God cannot logically coexist were certain states of affairs to be extant. But you just admitted that absent God revealing himself, you couldn't know anything about God. Therefore, you're not in a position to say what is not compatible with God and his plan.
So I'm really struggling to understand. Like, could you simplify?
You should be. You are telling us what states of affairs are not compatible with the existence of God.
Well, what do you mean by states of affairs?
Anything, death, suffering, disease.
Just a state of affairs is like if someone
bank robberies, wars,
cancer.
So bad stuff. Basically bad stuff, right?
Okay. Well, yeah. You're using the term evil. Okay. Now, the bottom line here is this: is in the Christian worldview, it makes it very clear that God is perfect, and he has a plan of creation and redemptive history. So we'll just simplify it by saying God's plan. Now, even though committing certain acts of evil are incongruent with God's character, they are consistent with God's plan to allow it temporarily until he ultimately vanquishes it according to his plan.
Can I try this?
So, go ahead.
So, like, according to a Christian perspective, that like we're all sinners. You're familiar with that concept? Like, even though I'm a Christian, I still think I'm a sinner. And the idea is that, like, think of like, God wants to have a relationship with you, but if he eliminates all evil because you are a sinner, he would have to eliminate you. And because God desires a relationship with you, he has to temporarily allow for there to be some evil in order that he can have a relationship with us and we're his children. You're not in a
position to say what is incompatible with God's plan.
I understand what the other guy was saying. What's your name?
Listen carefully. You are not in a position to assert and defend what state of affairs are incompatible with God.
I mean, where do you draw the line, though?
Are you even focused? See, this is why I ask you how old you are.
Yeah, please
because
answer.
you're not focusing like an adult would. Okay, I just gave you an absolute devastating defeater to your position, and either you're not getting it at all or you're ignoring it. I'll say it.
No, I'm getting it. I understood it.
Please do not overtalk me. Good. Then I have given you a rebuttal that devastates your position.
Yeah, and I understand that. I can't argue against that. You literally did prove me wrong.
No, you can. Dude, you see, this is why I don't like talking with teenage males, because you have a
I'm not a
lack of
male. I'm a female. I'm not a male. Sorry.
What's on your birth certificate?
Female. I was born a female. I can get my ID right now. It literally says I'm a female. I just cut my hair.
She just says
I'm not trying.
It's irrelevant at this point. The point.
Yeah, but
the
just
point,
don't call me a man with
Look,
not a man
dude.
for
Okay,
it.
have a nice day. You want to keep over talking?
I don't
Goodbye.
think
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, he's just a teenager.
See, this is why I don't like talking with.
it's a woman.
You showed him the
younger
devastation
people.
of his worldview, Darth. You destroyed his worldview.
She just had a deep voice. It's a woman, guys.
You totally showed her the devastation of her worldview.
Okay, and what we have here is another clear example. When you bring a devastating blow in the form of a rebuttal, when they realize that they cannot present an effective counter rebuttal, what they will do is they will simply ignore that you've just delivered a fatal blow to their position. They just ignore it. This is what they frequently do. This is one of the tactics that they do. This is another act of deceit and dishonesty. So what he's saying is there are certain states of affairs in the course of human events that would be incompatible with God, that God couldn't logically coexist with these states of affairs. But the point is, you're not in a position to say what state of affairs would therefore be incompatible with the nature and the plan of God. So when we look at the Bible reveals that certain acts of evil or certain states of affairs are incompatible with God's character, and in other words, they're not congruent. Doesn't mean they couldn't exist, because meaning it's a metaphysical impossibility. What we're saying is God permits them to occur temporarily, right? So these things that are incongruent with God's character, right? They can metaphysically coexist with God temporarily, but God is going to vanquish it. So when they say that there's certain evil, death, suffering, disease, therefore God's existence is incompatible with that, they're not in a position to say what would be incompatible with God. So for example, a perfect God could not create a world, a metaphysically robust world. He couldn't create a world where somebody disobeys him. That couldn't be. Based upon what?
Based on what exactly? Darth, we have here
Okay.
Oakland. Are you an atheist, Oakland?
I'm not an atheist. I'm pagan.
Oh, she's
Okay. Do you accept that there is a single causal first principle for everything that is a mind God?
No.
Then you are an atheist. There are different versions of atheism. You might believe in beings that you call God that have some type of supernatural capabilities, but they are not existing within the ultimate auspices of a single ultimate creator.
And can I ask how? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. No, look, I don't mind. Look, I don't mind if somebody like you even repeatedly interrupts when you're doing so in good faith. I only mind it when people use it as a deceitful tactic. You don't seem to be doing that, so you're free to interrupt me.
I would just like to ask how you can prove that there is a God.
Okay.
Like, I completely understand that many people would ask the same question to me. How can you prove that there are multiple gods? I give them the examples of throughout history we've seen, like throughout people worshiping. We've seen temples, we've seen altars, we've seen hundreds of thousands of historical documents on this. But with God, there is basically just one book that has been rewritten over and over and over again.
Okay, so you're touching on a lot of different issues here, okay? So atheism, the classical philosophical definition is that there are no gods or there is no creator God. Okay, so they're somewhat different versions of atheism. So the type of atheism that you are holding to is what is called the denial of the creator-creature distinction. Okay, you don't deny that there are gods, meaning that there are beings who have supernatural powers, but you are, in effect, denying that there is one single causal first principle for everything that we call God. So you are an atheist under that definition.
Then I guess I would be. It's just I don't believe that a God created us or the world. I believe that science did.
Yeah, we can grant somebody that they're an atheist while still maintaining that they believe in supernatural beings that we call gods. Okay, like I just said, there are different versions of atheism. Okay, just like there are different versions of theism. In theism, generally speaking, we're usually referring to one singular creator God, but a theist could be somebody who believes that there are one or more supernatural beings that we call gods with a small g, right? But the moment you deny that there is a single ultimate eternal creator, then you cross over the line into that type of atheism.
See, the thing is that I do understand what you're saying, 100%. But it's difficult to claim that somebody is atheist when you don't, know them fully. I know that there are different types of atheism.
Can you say that again? Go back 2 sentences, please.
No, we're saying he's just being like technical philosophically.
Okay.
You're going to identify as a pagan, like you're not identifying as an atheist, but being a pagan is like a flavor of like philosophical atheism.
Okay.
When I say atheism, I'm really referring to the kind of atheism that denies the creator-creature distinction.
Okay.
Did you have like a question or?
Wi-Fi keeps cutting out. I'm sorry.
It's okay. All right. So,
give me a moment. Sorry, my Wi-Fi keeps cutting out.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
No problem. Okay. Philly, what would you like to say?
Hi. We chatted once about Green Acres TV show.
Think of that the TV show?
The Green Acres. Green Acres is the place to be.
Green Acres is the place to be.
Farm living is the life for me.
You must be old, Philly, huh?
I'm very old.
Did you know that Eddie Albert was a war hero?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he was. He was a war hero.
Philly, are you an atheist?
And wait a minute. And did you know that Eddie Albert and Suzanne Flechette were royally ticked off at Peter Falk because he was in contract disputes during the filming of their episode together on Columbo?
Oh, I didn't know.
Little sidetrack there. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm a deconstructing Christian.
Oh, please talk to her. Yeah, I the number one thing I dislike is deconstructing Christians. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't enter into deconstruction willingly at all. It was kicking and screaming. But that's where I'm at. And I've tried to understand the logical side of God. I think you would probably call me an atheist at this point, although I have not named that.
Let me explain to you what it is exactly that you're rejecting, right? So you have somewhat of an understanding, but most people who reject Christianity do not have a comprehensive understanding of what they're rejecting. So what you are rejecting is that there is a perfect God who is perfect in all of his attribute set, including that he is a salvific God and a revelatory God.
What's that one? Salvit. What's that one?
Salvific, a God who saves.
Oh, okay.
A God whom we are in the midst of his plan of redemption. Okay? So people have a minimizing of what they're actually rejecting. So when you reject people, okay, you are rejecting that God, in terms of his attribute set, is perfect in all respects, from every perspective. There isn't anything about him that is imperfect. And part of God's perfect attribute set is that everything that can and does exist does so under the conditions and auspices of God, the power of his will. It says in Hebrews 1, he upholds all things by the power of his will. What this means philosophically is God is the single causal first principle that actualizes everything, not only chronologically, but contemporarily as well. So in other words, you are now rejecting that God is the single causal principle for everything. You're rejecting that the God of the Bible is what we call the concrete universal. In other words, it is the mind, power, and plan of God that imposes all of the unity in the world that exists on different scales. Like, for example, you have an electron, a molecule, an atom, an atom, a molecule. Then you have proteins, and you have cells, you have organisms, then you have things like plants, trees, animals, then you have rocks, stars, planets, etc. These are all different levels or states of unity amongst diversity. So a cat is not the dog. The cat is on the mat. So you are rejecting that what is ultimately behind the actualization of everything, including its intelligibility, is that perfect single causal principle exemplified by the God of the Bible. The moment you start speaking about your world, when you are deconstructing and you are not accepting that the triune God is the one true God, then you're automatically, when speaking, are operating from an alternative worldview. Now, in order for whatever you to say in that alternate worldview to be intelligible in the grand scheme of things, metaphysically, not just semantically intelligible, but it's intelligible with respect to the complete system, right? There will be no identifiable, defensible, causal first principle whose attribute set will be able to secure the actuality and intelligibility of everything. So the very attempt to even reason apart from and opposed to the attribute set of the Christian God is instantly doomed to incoherency, not semantical incoherency, but metaphysical incoherency, because you have nothing within the system that secures or grounds any statement of unity or diversity. So if I say the sky is blue or the dog is in the backyard, these are statements of unity and diversity.
Oh, I think
When you reject, go ahead.
When Darth's saying metaphysical, he's talking about reality or like existence. So he says like there's a problem with existence in your model. It's not just like a conceptual.
I think I follow that part of the explanation. There are several parts of the explanation that don't make sense to me, though. May I ask some questions?
Yes.
When you say that I am rejecting this God, I feel like I have been clinging on with my fingernails.
Repeat that.
You used the word, you said that I'm rejecting.
Oh, clinging on with your fingernails.
Yes.
Yeah, you're at any given moment, you're going to accept that the triune God is the ground of being and having revealed himself, or you're not going to accept that.
And you're saying that it's my choice whether I accept
what I am saying to you is this.
Yeah, it's your choice.
Without accepting that the triune God is and that he has revealed himself clearly in creation and through human history propositionally and providentially secured through the prophets, Christ, and the Christian scriptures. Okay, when you reject it, you are not just rejecting God's existence, you are rejecting a comprehensive model of reality. Now, you therefore don't have within your model of reality a final referent or ground of being by which you can be skeptical about anything, because now your world is shrouded in complete mystery. There is no basis. The very rationale that you use for dismissing the God of the Bible, whatever permutation it is, that very rationale that you're using to dismiss the Christian God, you are instantly violating when you are speaking from your alternate model of reality. So to reject the Christian God, all right, first of all, is not rationally defensible. Number two, it's irrational by your own criterion. So it is irrational to reject and deny the Christian God. Now, if you'd like to give me a rebuttal and explain to me your model of reality, what your ultimate referent is that grounds truth, reason, and logic, by which you can know anything, including to know that the Christian worldview and the Christian God is not true, I'd love to hear it.
Well, to be honest, I'm having a hard time being able to know that anything is real beyond that I seem to be having
there's no I to speak of. There's no experiences to speak of, because any such invocation will entail that these are in some way identity states or unified states that are discrete and distinguished from one another. If you say, I have had 3 separate experiences, right? You're invoking a kind of unity and diversity. That's a certain state of affairs that can be presented as a unified state, or it's a compound state of affairs, unified, as opposed to the second experience. So you're invoking unity and diversity.
Isn't that
real? Look, do you understand one of the fundamental parameters of our thinking about our world, whether you're a Christian or an atheist, is unity and diversity. So if I say to you,
I don't. Maybe you could help me with that one.
Okay, so when you say the cat is on the mat or the dog wags its tail, when you say that, by implicitly you're invoking states of unity and diversity. Okay?
Because we all know what a cat is, and we all know what a mat is.
Right, but the cat is not the mat. So the cat is a stipulation of a state of unity or an identity state, and it is to be distinguished and demarcated from the mat. So we have a state of unity and diversity. The cat is diverse and distinct from the mat.
Yes.
Okay, now, in the Christian worldview, the mind and plan of God is the ultimate foundation for everything, including the actualization or the imposition of any identity states, unity, and diversity. Now, when you reject that, when you reject the Christian God, you're operating in principle in your model of reality, in order to speak intelligibly, that something else is actualizing unity and diversity in order for you to say intelligibly the cat is on the mat.
So I think that I'm following.
What is the something else?
Okay, so I would.
What is the something else that actualizes all states of unity and diversity?
I don't know if this is an appropriate argument, but what comes to mind is...
I don't want you to give me an argument. I want you to tell me what is since you do not accept the triune God of the Bible through Jesus Christ, is the actualizer of this world, the actualizer of unity and diversity, You are operating in principle that something else
Yes.
is actualizing unity and diversity,
Yes.
without which you couldn't speak meaningfully or intelligibly about the cat on the mat.
And
What is the something else that's actualizing states of unity and diversity?
Our communication, our language is what allows us to come to that.
No. Those would be invocations of states of unity and diversity. That's not telling me what actualizes the states of unity. So, for example, if you look and you see books on your shelf, okay, one book is not the other. And I'm asking you, what is it that actualizes that one thing is actually an identity state and is discrete and distinct from another identity state, a book? And I ask you, what is it that actually actualizes that, other than the fact that you believe that one book is not another? I'm asking you, what actualizes it? In the Christian worldview, it is the mind and plan of God that permits states of unity that are also distinct and discrete from other states of unity. If you say to me, well, I see books on my shelf, you're not answering the question. You're just taking for granted that these states of unity, as well as being discrete from other states of unity, other books, are real. I'm not asking you, do you believe they're real? I'm asking you, what makes them real? Because your position is, God's not making it real. Good. What's the something else?
I'm so sorry, my furnace repair.
Typically, what your friends
It's okay.
would do.
The point is this: when you reject God's revelation, and from a biblical perspective, God's revelation, when properly understood, is self-authenticating and self-attesting, because it is exclusive and indispensable. Right? It's indispensable. That is, if you choose to say it's not needed, then automatically you're operating from another model of reality to speak coherently about your world. Is there something on a grand scale that actualizes any identity states or states of unity? Is there something that does that?
I don't have an. All I know is I could.
You don't know anything without the
Okay,
triune God.
I don't.
Because if you tell me you know something without not under the auspices of the triune God making you know things, I'm going to ask you what you're going to need to explain to me in order to know anything.
Can we do phone a friend real quick, Darth? Can I help it? So, like, typically, Philly, what your deconstruction Christian friends who are like more like knowledgeable about these issues in philosophy, they'll take this position called nominalism, which is really like a BS move, where they're going to say like, oh, these unity isn't real, and like all there are just like particulars or something. But like there's just molecules and atoms, and there's no connections between anything. But if there's no connections between anything, and they're saying our minds just make that up, that means that like knowledge is impossible. That's just an entailment from that. So that's not like a valid move to make. But that's basically what you end up having to do, because there's no way to answer Darth's question apart from accepting Christianity. That's why we say it's impossible to rationally deny it, because to make that move it's not even real. Like it's a lie, basically, what they're doing.
You see, what we're showing you is that God, within his revelation in creation and special revelation, God has revealed that he is the ground of all being, and that includes reason, truth, and intelligibility. And that without that, there's not going to be a viable system from which you to speak from.
So what if
Go ahead.
What if I feel like I can't ground reason, intelligibility, yet I choose to live as if there is reason. And
well, then what you're doing is you're just simply acting in rebellion to what God has revealed. God's revelation in creation, his natural revelation, and what he has revealed in special revelation, meaning the propositional content that he's given to the various prophets, ultimately in Jesus Christ, codified in the Bible. When understood, that propositional content cannot be rationally denied. Just simply not accepting of it is a de facto denial, but it's going to be an irrational denial rather than a rational denial. God is going to, let me just say this.
No.
God could have created this world in such a way where he did not even permit you to irrationally deny him. But when we read the Bible, and you get into certain passages like in the New Testament, it's crystal clear that God says he turned them over into a darkened mind, okay, to foolish thinking. So God permits, and it's also a temporal judgment. He allows you to self-gaslight yourself, right? As a judgment, it's a temporal judgment, right? And the temporal judgment is going to be followed by the eternal judgment. So the only way, when you refuse to accept God's revelation, the only way to get through to you is not merely a presentation of one fact and this fact and that fact, because they're just going to be reinterpreted according to your model of reality. So the only way to get through to people like you, and I don't mean that as being derogatory, is to show you that your position is incoherent upon a careful walkthrough. In other words, in the Christian worldview, God being perfect, his perfect attribute set is going to be the foundation and basis and his plan for our capacity to be able to affirm or deny anything. When you reject that, what is your ultimate frame of reference in your model of reality that's going to enable you to affirm and deny things? And appealing to your experience or your thinking isn't going to work because you're not God. So what is it that is ultimate in your world that's identifiable, defensible?
She already said she can't.
Okay,
She
good.
just conceded that she can't answer that.
Well, then your rejecting of Jesus Christ's identity claims is irrational.
Because like this, go ahead. Did you want to ask? I was going to try to clarify, Steelman something.
I just, there's nothing in me that wanted to reject Christ, that wanted to doubt God.
But you're not
at this point.
I'm sorry?
But you're being irrational.
You're lying at this point. God says in the Bible, God says in the Bible that you're either going to repent in terms of the revelation of God that you are cognizant of, or you're going to be without a defense and without excuse. Romans 1 says you are without a defense, okay?
Let me try and clear that. Like, so how come you can believe in a bunch of things with no evidence, but then when it comes to Jesus, all of a sudden you need evidence to believe Jesus?
Well, I don't even know if I do believe in a bunch of things, but I do choose to live as if I can.
You just said
there's
you
no
admitted you
then there's
did.
no talking. There's no I then.
What?
Okay, I isn't okay. When you say I, you're invoking that you are a state of unity. You deny and reject that the triune God is the one who actualizes any state of unity. So, what ultimately in the world imposes the realness of any identity state or state of unity, including the identity state where you say I?
I don't know.
Well, so in other words, every assertion that you make about this world, including reasons to reject the Bible, all goes back to I don't know.
Darth, can I say something?
It's just crazy. Like they just want to like have this like postmodernist.
I'm trying to explain to you
Mm-hmm.
that
I'm listening.
You're denying truth. You're being crazy.
It's utterly irrational to deny God. The only way that you can deny God is to do so irrationally. Because you want, so either you're going to accept and recognize the supremacy of the mind of God and how he reveals it for all things, and if not, you will be adopting the autonomy of the human mind to think and operate and to speak authoritatively on some things
but she doesn't care
apart from God. So you understand the dichotomy? Either the
she
mind
doesn't
of God
care.
is
She's perfectly capable.
it's really simple. When you say you have rational grounds to dismiss the God of the Bible,
I don't think I do.
Then you're just in a state of irrational rebellion.
Yeah, she's just basically in this position.
You're just admitting that you're irrational. You're admitting that you're being irrational.
I think I am.
But that's not acceptable.
Does God allow for that?
That's not.
Yes. When you read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, this is a theme. Look in this book, the 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, Paul talks about the end times right before Christ returns, where the Antichrist will be possessed by Satan and he will deceive almost the entire world. And it says this: God will send a damning delusion to them who believe the lie, who receive not a love of the truth.
Well, let's think about the character of Pharaoh. Okay, Pharaoh was quite stubborn. Don't you think God did a lot to demonstrate that Pharaoh should listen to God? Like how many plagues and disasters?
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something?
Did Pharaoh give a shit? Pharaoh wouldn't listen to God right until the end. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Philly.
So the
actually,
bottom line
so it seems like you're invoking. Yeah, go ahead, Lord. Sorry.
Well,
go ahead, Mr. McMahon.
So here's the issue of Philly with two things. By you taking that position of global skepticism, right? That you don't know anything and that you're irrational about everything, right? First of all, that's self-defeating because epistemic nihilism is self-defeating because that by saying I don't know that there's no knowledge, that's a knowledge claim. Therefore, you do know that you don't know, and that's why epistemic nihilism is self-defeating. Therefore, you have to know. Right, something. So you have to know something, right? You can't be in a state of not knowing.
Able to know that you don't know?
1 second, Con. 1 second.
No, please.
Second
have
problem.
A conversation if you're gonna.
Yeah, I still haven't finished talking. Right. Second issue is by you being irrational, by you claiming that you're irrational, therefore your atheism is irrational. Right. Like, so why do you believe in atheism? Then so then you would also agree that your belief in atheism would be irrational. Sorry, Darth. Go ahead, Darth. Continue if I interrupted. Sorry.
I think I can get myself, not easily, but I think I can put myself in a mental state where I can follow the.
There's no I to speak of.
That you're saying around.
You're not understanding.
Having to be a god.
You've been a global skeptic scenario.
I understand. Exactly, I think I can.
Is my mic working?
Where there has to be.
We can hear you. We can hear you, Darth. Go ahead, Darth.
Okay, I'm trying to explain to you when you say I or you.
There has to be an ultimate God.
You're invoking identity states. You're invoking. Listen, you are invoking notions of unity and diversity, but your position is that the actuality of unity and diversity, by saying I and you, are not God-given and God-sustained. So then what you're saying is unity and diversity are real by virtue of I don't know. So you see, whatever comes out of your mouth, you see, you want to sit there and be skeptical. You want to claim,
I don't want to. I do not want to.
Okay, all right. We're going to move on. You're just fooling yourself. See, there's only two. What I was trying to explain to you before, and I'm going to wrap this up. Either you're going to accept that the mind of God is supreme in all things and how He reveals it through creation, through the prophets, through Christ, codified in the Bible, or you're going to reject that. To reject that is to advance and proclaim that your mind is an autonomous operator and player, and that you can reason intelligibly about this world, right, without reference to the attribute set of the triune God. That you're an autonomous thinker in a world where something else actualizes unity and diversity. What's the something else? Well, the answer is, I don't know. So you see, your position as stated is actually worse than the position, that is the Christian worldview, that you claim to be rejecting, because you are instantly violating the very criterion that you use to dismiss the God of the Bible. Okay, meaning the God of the Bible represents a comprehensive model of reality. It's called the creator-creature distinction, right? So the very criterion that you use to dismiss the creator-creature distinction, when you start speaking outside of that model of reality, you're violating your own criterion, because the model of reality that you're invoking, at least implicitly, is not supported in fulfillment of your criterion that you use to dismiss the Christian worldview.
Thank you
So
for
your position
saying.
is irrational.
I appreciate that,
Okay,
because
thank you for coming. Welcome, Khan.
How we doing?
Welcome. Are you an atheist?
Yeah.
You've spoken with me before. Have you forgotten?
Atheist, answer Darth.
Dude,
Holy
I
shit!
could
Why are you
deal
so
with
angry?
hundreds.
Yeah, I
Okay,
am.
okay, all right, yeah. If you're rude one more time, I should have ejected you, but because I'm in a relatively good mood, I won't. If you're rude again, you'll be ejected without notice.
How was I rude?
Okay, goodbye. Yeah.
What's this guy doing?
Nice fake Kamala Harris laugh.
Giggling like a little schoolboy or like a Kamala
Oh no.
Harris fan.
That's reminiscent of a fake Kamala Harris laugh.
Yep.
Yeah. So you come up here and you want to act like a punk ass, then you're going to get treated that way. Okay.
Call atheists, yeah.
Okay.
Darth, I was very shocked that she admitted that she's irrational. Like, she admitted that's weird, yeah. ABC, are you an atheist?
I'm an atheist because
he's an atheist.
there's a lot of inconsistencies in the Bible that don't line up with
Also
reality.
follow that atheism is true.
Okay.
Go ahead, Darth. Yeah.
For example, the Earth isn't 6,000 years old.
Hold on a second. We're going to go through this one thing at a time.
Why do you keep interrupting me? And you're interrupting her last time. I'm
about to kick you.
I don't give a shit, bro.
You're doing.
Listen to Darth.
You keep interrupting everybody, you faggot.
Okay, sir.
Kill yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
The problem with these people, Darth, I'm very convinced, Darth, that these people are mentally warped.
No, what I wanted him to do was proceed at one point at a time and not just to machine gun us. It doesn't. You see, your position is that because you personally find fault with the Bible, therefore God doesn't exist. How does it logically and necessarily follow that because you have personal objections to biblical content, therefore God doesn't exist? How does that follow? You see, you don't understand is you have a teenager's level of philosophical and metaphysical understanding. You do not have an adult sensibility of these issues.
But Darth, to be honest, I get really sad when I see deconstructing Christians. Like, this person made me sad.
Well, she wanted to dig in intellectual heel dragging. I demonstrated to her conclusively that her position was irrational. Yep. She knows it's irrational. They don't want Christianity to be true because they don't want Christianity to be true. Yeah. Their minds go on an Easter egg hunt, pun intended, of trying to find slogans and rationales as to why they have good skeptical grounds to reject Christianity. But if you reject the attribute set of the God of the Bible, you're not going to have ultimate metaphysical grounds to be skeptical of anything because your world is shrouded in ultimate mystery.
There you go.
De jure, welcome.
Hi, Darth. How are you?
How am I at the moment? I'm fine.
Oh, good. Well,
You sure? Are you an atheist?
No.
Are you a Christian?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I have something for that deconstructing Christian that I wanted to share. You know how science says that they don't understand what holds atoms together, that it really doesn't make any sense? And they haven't been able to find what it is that holds things together.
Well, it's called the strong and the weak nuclear force.
But they don't know why it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because logically, nothing should hold together, right?
Well, they don't care.
Well, anyway, this whole idea of God being the thing that holds everything together, the way it was explained to me by the Holy Spirit was this poem that I want to read, if that's okay.
No, we're not taking people who are claiming that they're getting revelation from God. Okay, thank you for coming. John, welcome. John, welcome.
John, are you an atheist? Yeah. Are you an
I'm
atheist, John?
Christian.
Okay, he's
I'm
a
a
Christian.
Christian.
Go ahead. What would you like to say, John?
Well, nothing. I was just coming up here to say, what's up, Precept? People are talking about you everywhere, Darth. You guys are doing a great job. That's all I wanted to say.
Whoa. What? People are talking about me?
All over the place.
That's news, Darth. That's news.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm. You know, did you ever see Casablanca, the movie?
No, I didn't.
I love that.
The French lieutenant was in Rick's restaurant where there was gambling going on, and they raided the place for illegal gambling. And he goes, "I'm shocked. There's gambling going on in here. I'm shocked. People are talking about me."
Pretty funny. I mean, you've got a name for yourself. Talk about you for like days.
Are they talking about how sexy my voice is? Are they talking about how they're convinced that I'm Einstein's illegitimate child?
Are you talking about Darth's sidekick? Are you talking about the sidekick or no? Not yet.
No. It's just you have such an impact on them. They're just like hating. They hate so hard on you.
Well, I'm just going to have to kick you out now for lying.
No,
because
honestly,
that's just an outright lie. They don't hate. Nobody hates. Everybody loves me.
Honestly, when I was like getting into Christian apologetics, I didn't really get Darth's argument. I didn't think it was like, at first I didn't really understand it. But then when I looked at how all the atheists just loathed him, I'm like, this might be a pretty good argument. And that's what that kind of is why I decided to like study it. So thanks for the hate. It made me become a better transcendental or presuppositional apologist.
That's exactly, by the way, Precept, the same thing that happened with me. It's Darth's material that really showed me the strength of Christian apologetics.
Just goes to show you that with pathological liars, Tom Rabbit has never owned me, nor could he. He is an intellectual lightweight. He's an actual embarrassment. If you take a look at the last 2 or 3 encounters that we had, remember, he used to avoid me like the plague for a number of years, right? But the last couple encounters that I did with him, he was completely creepy, he was sleazy, and he was utterly evasive in talking with me. Now, if he owns me, why is it that he was so persistently and pervasively evasive? Why?
Exactly, Darth. So he's not that good with philosophy, right? This guy, Tom Rabbit.
No, he just hangs out with some of these atheists whose philosophy is a hobby. They make numerous philosophical and mistakes. If they would even have a basic familiarity with biblical theology, they wouldn't make certain mistakes that they make. So, for example, they're saying, well, if you're going to be in heaven and you won't be able to sin in the future, then why couldn't have God made it that way in the first place? Showing an absolutely appalling lack of understanding of biblical theology. Okay?
Yeah.
Because in heaven, in God's plan of redemption, when we cry out to him to forgive our sins, we're not being saved from just the penalty of sin, but we are asking God to save us eternally from the presence of sin. So when we repent and turn to Christ as Savior, God is going to permanentize that request that we be saved in all aspects from sin.
If God were to God were to just like snap his fingers and like all our problems go away, that might seem helpful, but it doesn't respect us as like thinking free and being able to make choices for ourselves. It's not respecting us as persons if he were to do something like that.
So had Adam and Eve obeyed God, God then would have permanentized their free choice in perpetuity. If Adam and Eve had decided to obey God and then eaten from the tree of life, God would have permanentized that chosen disposition to be loyal to God. Likewise, in the plan of redemption, under the second Adam, God permanentizes our request to make us completely and forever loyal to him. Now, had they even had a basic understanding of the doctrine of salvation, they wouldn't make such a stupid statement. Okay?
I'm going to bounce up out of here, but I just wanted to say good job cooking them, guys. I see you guys cooking them all over the place. It's pretty awesome.
Did you see me talk to Justin last night by chance?
No, I didn't see that. I saw you talk to Think and in the comments, and then
I go into Think. Thinker is such a weirdo, man, and she calls herself Thinker.
Yeah, but she is pretty cool, though.
Who's that?
Well, she hasn't been very cool to me. When there's a streamer called Thinker, and she just like goes live and constantly talks about God did slavery, God did a war, God did. Oh my gosh!
Did you debate her Darth before Thinker? Did you debate this person Thinker?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Well, she gets like massive viewers, and she's live like all the time. Well, she's kind of like maybe late at night, early in the morning, so maybe you're not seeing her.
But a lot of the atheists, I would honestly rather hang out in an atheist room and try to proselytize to them than actually go to a Christian lab and hang out. I mean, it's just so much fun. And people are just, they're actually really good people. They're just kind of lost right now.
Their thinking's a bit off, I would say. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for coming, man. I never got to finish my story about deconstruction, Justin, from last night. Where like... So he was getting precept wrong. Where he was asking, they asked for the premise one. They didn't understand it. Then where did it go from there? Basically, I explained to them like God's not just like proving a fact like the shape of the earth. That God is like a system which we would like a standard for truth. So if you're telling me like my standard of truth is like not the correct standard of truth, then like, well, what is the correct standard of truth? So I was flipping it back on.
Also, not accepting premise one constitutes the denial of premise one. Mm-hmm. And so when they ask for an argument for that, first of all, premise one is not is not a conclusion. It's a premise within an argument. Yeah. So if they're rejecting what they're objecting to is not the validity. They're not objecting to the validity of the argument. They're rejecting to the soundness of the argument, and they're objecting to premise one.
Right.
Okay? So the premise one is that there is a single causal first principle that is characteristically perfect in all respects, including that it is an agent from which all things derive and depend. Okay. Now, when we say what's the rationale for that, is because number one, reason and truth could not be without such a state of affairs. Number two is that single causal first principle that is perfect in all respect has taken the initiative to reveal itself in creation. That is why we put that on the table.
But Darth, I'm talking to like dummy Justin deconstruction zone. So like if I say he won't understand any of that. So I was trying to dumb it down and just say like, look, God isn't just a fact. He's like a standard of truth. And so if you're saying like, well, you don't accept my standard of truth. Well, like what standard of truth should I adopt? And you're telling me to let go of my standard of truth, and well, then
Right, yeah.
what
So
would be
if
the
God
standard of
isn't
truth?
this, yeah. Well, God being the single causal first principle is the ultimate referent without which you couldn't talk about truth.
Well, so when I make this move, then that flips it back to Justin. So I'm like, Justin, like, how do we prove things? Like, what's your epistemology? And like, if he doesn't even know, right? Of course, he has no answer to this question. And I'm like, I go, Justin, I'm sorry, but this is like embarrassing because you do a live show like all consistently all the time where you ask people for proof of God and you don't even know anything about proof, evidence, or epistemology. Like, is that not shameful? And then I basically left after that. So, because I don't think like if these people don't even know what evidence and proof is, it's like, how are we going to even prove anything to someone like that? So I felt like that was quite embarrassing for Justin, but that's also my opinion. So, but anyways, no one wants to. There's no intellectual, rational atheist.
By the way, for those of you who are trolls who keep on showing up in new accounts, I have a new weapon of my warfare. Because you're using the same phone for multiple accounts, okay? I'm going to report each one of those accounts, and those accounts are going to be tied to a specific device. So you're going to have to change devices, okay? So every time they start posting their defamatory material, not only am I going to block their account, I'm going to report their account, right? And the algorithms of TikTok will spot that it's the same device being used over and over again for different accounts, and it's going to block the device.
They can't log into TikTok anymore, Darth.
Say that again?
They won't be able to log into TikTok anymore with that device.
Well, yeah. Once enough reports have been done on a device, and it turns out they're valid, because they can see everything that this device is posted under different accounts, and they're gonna see that they're making defamatory statements and things like that over and over again. So keep on with the slander and defamatory responses. I'll just keep on reporting your account, and then in a matter of time, they're going to block your device.
That guy made like 1 million accounts. I was blocking accounts left and right.
I blocked every single one of them. Now I'm going to start reporting them every time they show up. So do you think TikTok, if they have algorithms where they can use AI for all sorts of things, that they're not going to see your device? How do you think they can shadow ban somebody having an alternate account on the same device? How do you think that happens?
Of reports. Good. Darth, would you say that, would you do another debate with Shannon Q? Because I saw that she wanted to have a debate with a theist. Would you do that again, Darth? Or someone told me that, yeah.
Probably because it's her best video on YouTube.
Even though she was like sort of not answering Darth at all in the first debate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't do it again, Darth, right? No.
Well,
I would talk with her again, but only under the proviso that whoever was hosting it forced her to respond like an adult. The first time around, she behaved like a complete moron. I told her to her face, right on the camera. I said, "Your whole performance was a train wreck." I said, "You did not conduct yourself like a mature, thoughtful adult."
Answer at all? Yeah, she kept evading, and she kept acting like a little schoolgirl. Yeah.
No, she wanted to turn it into a therapy session instead of like a debate. Basically, was what she was doing.
Yeah.
I actually have a video clip of her on my computer, drunk. Going off on Christians.
Oh, wow.
She was clearly intoxicated. And she also has admitted to, let's put it this way, following lifestyles that are incompatible with the way God created things.
Yeah. Darth, do you
So,
think
like I said, a lot of the atheists, they have immoralities in their life, and that's why they don't believe in God.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, Darth, do you think like these atheists do these alcohol and illegal substances and commit like these awful immoral lifestyles, right? I'm guessing, yeah, right. Based on what you just said, yeah.
Well, we're not saying that all atheists are like that, but it's extremely common that they have certain immoralities in their past or their present, and they don't want God looking over their shoulder, and so their mind operates through a confirmation bias, collecting slogans and cliches that are not philosophically robust as to why God does not exist. That's why they repeat the same cliches over and over again.
Can I ask a question, by the way?
John, are you an atheist?
No, I'm a Christian. I'm just
okay.
The no slavery in ancient Israel. I'm sorry, I'm Dutch. Sorry for stuttering. But just how do you explain that?